Hey, good evening. It's Monday, June 5th, and welcome to a new week on Everyday Talk 24/7. I'm talking about wisdom from above, but I want to give tonight some reasons why that's important. Why wisdom from above is so important to us. Why it can bring about stability, confidence, and just a real evenness to our Christian life that will result in growth and strength. See, this is not just about adding some rules or having some better plans to follow. This is about a relationship of trust in God. So again, as you know, I've been looking at James 3:17, where 7 qualities of wisdom from above are listed. But let me go back to the first part of James in chapter 1, where he gives us a reason why this wisdom is important. If any of you lacks wisdom, he should ask God, who gives generously to all without finding fault, and it will be given to him. But when he asks, he must believe and not doubt, because he who doubts is like a wave of the sea, is blown and tossed about by the wind, a wave of the sea, wavering back and forth from one gust of wind to the next. That man should not think he'll receive anything from the Lord. He is a double-minded man, unstable in all he does. And you see, if your life is marked by questions, I'm not sure, is this the right thing? This is where we need wisdom. This is where we need faith. We need to ask in faith. And asking for wisdom is what produces stability in our lives. If I'm trying to constantly weigh the factors, if I'm constantly between a list of pros and a list of cons, while that's helpful sometimes, it'll ultimately lead to a very unstable situation. Because then sometimes some pros are bigger than some of the cons, or vice versa. And it leads to confusion. The state of wavering back and forth. There's a story in 1 Kings which helps us understand this in very vivid detail. Ahab and his wife Jezebel have been rebelling against God. God sends Elijah the prophet to challenge them. And after having not reigned for 3 years, at the command of God through Elijah, then Elijah says to Ahab, let's meet together finally in this drought, and we'll have a contest. All the prophets of Baal and me, representing God. And Ahab agrees to the concert, and he summons through all Israel, and he tells them to come and see what's happening. So we read in 1 Kings chapter 18, he says, now summon the people from all over Israel to meet me on Mount Carmel, and bring 450 prophets of Baal, and the 400 prophets of Asherah, who eat at Jezebel's table. Baal was the storm god, and his Asherah was his consort. So 850 prophets, and they're going to meet in a contest. And he tells Ahab to tell Israel, meet me there on Mount Carmel, and we'll see who wins. Ahab comes, and the people come. So when the people come, it says this, Ahab sent word throughout all Israel and assembled the prophets of Mount Carmel. And then Elijah went before the people and said, how long will you waver or hesitate between two opinions? If the Lord is God, follow him. But if Baal is God, follow him. Pretty straightforward direction there. The response of the people is deafening and the people said nothing. The people didn't answer him at all. Why is that? Because they were doubting, they were wavering. They wanted to see who would win the contest. And that's that weakness that we're talking about here. Wisdom from above will keep you from that weakness. Why should it be any question at all if we're going to serve God or serve Baal. Only if I'm not sure which one is going to give me the better answer, which one is going to give me what I want. You see the connection here. Notice again, if any of you lacks wisdom, he should ask God, who gives generously to all without finding fault. But when he asks, he must believe and not doubt, not waver. Because what were the people doing? They were doubting. They wanted to see who would win. When Elijah essentially won, they all screamed, the Lord, he is God. The Lord, he is God. But they couldn't say that earlier because they didn't know who was going to be the winner in their minds. They were unstable. They lacked faith. They lacked confidence. But when he asked, he must believe and not doubt, because he who doubts is like a wave of the sea, blown and tossed by the wind. That man should not think he will receive anything from the Lord. He is double-minded and unstable in all he does. The people of Israel were double-minded. They were waiting to see which side wins before they decided to get on board and support. Wisdom from above will give you and me the confidence that we need to be strong, stable, and confident. Because wisdom from above is not dependent upon circumstances. Wisdom from above is dependent upon the Word of God and the faithfulness of the Word of God. See the beauty of that, the power of that. If you're doubting, if you're worrying, what should I do? Should I do this or should I do that? What we need, brothers and sisters, is this wisdom from God, from above. And James is not just talking about only verse 17 in chapter 3. He's talking about the combined wisdom of God and all the wisdom literature and the Psalms and the Proverbs and Ecclesiastes, which help us to think well. It's just summarized in those 7 categories in 3:17. Are you confident? Or do you lack stability? Do you worry about every single decision? Are you afraid of making a call? What you need, what I need, is that wisdom of God. The wisdom that comes from above. See, Elijah, he knew he could trust God. And the Israelites had forgotten all of the wonderful tales of God. They had disobeyed the command of God to teach their children about the wonderful deeds of God and all he had done for Israel. All they could think about is, what happens? Suppose Ahab's right. Suppose Elijah loses. I don't want to be on the wrong side. See, that brings us insecurity. We want to have a stability, a confidence that's not dependent upon outcomes. Not wondering whether or not I'm going to trust God if things turn out the way I want. I'm going to trust God because he is God. And I do that by embracing wisdom from above. And that's the thought for this night. Again, give me your thoughts and feedback. I'd love to hear them. We're going to continue. We're going to get right back into wisdom from above tomorrow. But I want you to have this strong foundation. So we're not doubters. We're not wavering around. We're not driven back and forth by all the teachings and craziness of each day. But we are made strong by the wisdom of God so that we can see that he alone is God. So we can serve him alone. Thanks so much for being here, and Lord willing, we'll see you tomorrow. Look forward to seeing you then. Good night.